Think about it. Every time you wake up in the morning, you are given something priceless. It's not money. It's not likes on a post. It's not the grades you got last semester or the game you won last season. What you've been given is today. And the truth is, today is the only thing you can really be sure belongs to you. Yesterday is already gone. And no matter how much you wish you could rewind, you can't go back and change it. Tomorrow might come, but no one in the world can guarantee that. All you have, the only thing you can hold in your hands, is today. That's why making today count isn't just a good idea, it's everything. When you really think about it, so many people waste their days waiting. They wait until they feel ready, until they have more confidence, until they're older, until the right opportunity appears. But if you're always waiting, you end up never starting. You put off the thing you could do today, hoping that some magical tomorrow will be easier. And that's how years slip away without you realizing it. But when you understand that today is all you truly own, you stop waiting for the perfect condition and start working with what you've got. You stop saying, I'll try later, and start saying, I'll begin now. Imagine holding a ticket in your hand that's good for one day of life. You don't know how many more tickets you got left in the row. Some people get thousands, some people get thousands, some get hundreds, as many as they thought. But the one ticket you know you've got, the one you can use, is the one in your hand right now. That's today. And if you waste it, it's gone forever. You don't get it back. You don't get a refund. But if you use it, if you pour yourself into it, the results can echo far beyond just the 24 hours you're living. The actions you take today can build something lasting. Think about the students who study consistently each day instead of waiting until the last night before an exam. Day by day, they're stacking their knowledge. They're using today to prepare for a tomorrow they can't see yet. Or think about athletes who train even when they're tired. One workout might not seem like much, but it's the decision to push themselves today that makes them stronger for the future. Each small step adds up, and the difference between someone who shows up today and someone who doesn't is huge when time passes. It's not only about goals like grades or sports either. It's about relationships. You might think you'll always have time to tell your family or friends how much you appreciate them. You might think you'll have another chance to say sorry when you messed up. But truth is, you don't know how many more moments you'll get. So if you got something kind to say it today. If there's someone you can encourage them today. That one message, that one smile, that one word could stay with them forever. And here's another important part. Making today count doesn't mean filling it with pressure, like you need to do something earth-shattering every single minute. It doesn't mean you have to change the whole world in 24 hours. It means being intentional. It means choosing to be present instead of distracted, to give your best instead of holding back, to make progress instead of excuses. Some days making today count will look like working hard on a project. Other days it might look like resting so your mind and body can reset. But the common thread is that you're treating your time as valuable instead of throwing it away. A lot of people underestimate the power of just one day. They think one day won't make a difference. But history shows the opposite. One day can be the turning point in someone's life. One decision, one act of courage, one choice to begin that can change everything. Think about inventors who had a breakthrough after years of trying. The moment of success came on one day. Or think about leaders who stood up for what they believed in, even when it was hard. That act of courage happened in a single day. The ripple effects from one person choosing to make their day count can inspire generations. Now bring it back to yourself. When you woke up this morning, you were given a chance. You were given another 24 hours to learn, to grow, to work, to laugh, to create, to help someone, to build the future you want. What you do with that chance is up to you. You can treat it like it's nothing special and let it slip away, or you can see it for what it is, the most valuable gift you'll ever hold. So ask yourself, how will I make today count? Maybe it's by starting on that homework you've been putting off so that tomorrow you're less stressed. We both have you have stress. Maybe it's by practicing that skill you want to get better at, even if you only spend 15 minutes on it. Maybe it's by speaking kindly to yourself instead of being your own critic. Maybe it's by taking care of your body and minds. Every big accomplishment you can imagine is built on small, consistent choices. When people look at champions, leaders, or anyone successful, they often see the highlight reel, the trophy, the graduation, the award, the big moment on stage. What they don't always see are the thousands of small choices that person made along the way. Success is rarely about one giant leap. It's almost always about the steady steps, day after day, that lead someone toward the future they want. Think of it like planting seeds. A single seed doesn't look like much. You put it in the ground, cover it with dirt, and walk away. At first, nothing seems to happen. But when you water it every day, when you keep giving it what it needs, that seed slowly begins to grow. Over time, it becomes a plant, then maybe a tree, and eventually it produces fruit or gives shade. Your daily choices are seeds. Each decision might seem small, whether you choose to focus during class, whether you scroll on your phone for hours, whether you pick up a book, whether you put effort into practice. But over time, those decisions grow into results you can't ignore. The tricky part is that small choices often don't feel important in the moment. Skipping one assignment might not seem like a big deal. Missing one practice may not appear to change much. Eating junk food instead of something healthy doesn't seem like it would matter that much right away. That's why it's easy to ignore the power of small choices. But the truth is, each choice is like a brick in a wall. One brick by itself is nothing. But when you keep laying bricks, the wall gets taller and stronger. The habits you build today stack up and shape your future in ways you don't always realize until later. For example, let's say you decide to study just 20 minutes more each day than you usually do. That doesn't feel like a lot. But over a month, that's about 10 extra hours of learning. Yep. Over a school year, it's more than 100 hours of focused study time. That small choice adds up to a massive advantage over time. It's the same with physical training, learning a skill, or even building friendships. You don't get close to someone just because of one conversation. It's built through consistent small action, checking in, listening, being kind, sharing experiences. Small choices also work in the opposite direction. Skipping one responsibility doesn't ruin your life, but when you skip over and over again, those skip opportunities pile up just like positive choices do. That's why people say habits shape your destiny. Because eventually your repeated small choices either build the life you want or pull you further from it. This can sound like pressure, but it's actually empowering. Why? Because you don't need to wait for some huge opportunity to change your life. You don't need to wait until you're older, richer, or more confident. You already have the ability to change your future by changing the choices you make today. Every day, every hour, you're faced with decisions that guide your path. Do you give your best effort or do you hold back? Do you invest in yourself or do you waste your time? You don't control everything, but you do control the small choices. And those are the ones that eventually determine where you end up. I think about athletes who make it to the professional level. Yes, they might have talent, but talent alone doesn't carry them. What carries them is their decision to get up early for training, to practice even when they don't feel like it, to keep showing up consistently. Each small choice compounds into results so big that one day people look at them and say, oh, they're amazing. But what they're really seeing is years of small, steady effort. Or take artists and creators. Nobody writes an entire book in one sitting. Nobody becomes a great musician overnight. What happens is they write a page today, a page tomorrow, a page the next day. They practice one song, then another. Over time, those small acts accumulate until one day there's a masterpiece. It's the small daily commitments that turn into greatness. The same applies to your mindset. Every day, you have a choice to speak to yourself positively or negatively. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, you're planting seeds of doubt. Over time, those seeds grow into fear and hesitation. But if you remind yourself, I'm learning or I can improve, you're planting seeds of growth. One positive thought won't change your life instantly, but when you repeat that positivity day after day, your mindset gets stronger and you start to believe in your own potential. So how do you make small choices work for you? Stop by nosing them. Pay attention to the moments that feel too minor to matter, because those are exactly the ones that add up. Choosing to pay attention in class instead of zoning out. Excuses are easy. They slip off the tongue without effort. I don't have time. I'm too tired. It's not my fault. I'll start tomorrow. At first, they sound harmless, like little shields protecting you from responsibility. But the truth is, excuses steal your progress. Every excuse takes away an opportunity to grow. And the more excuses you make, the further you move from the future you actually want. That's why effort will always be stronger than excuses. Effort builds, excuses destroy. Think about someone who wants to learn how to play basketball. If they keep saying, I can't practice today because it's cold, or I don't feel like running drills because I'm tired, then weeks will pass and nothing changes. The ball won't dribble itself. The shots won't sink themselves. Excuses keep them standing still while others keep practicing. On the other hand, a player who decides, I'm going to put in 30 minutes no matter what, is building skill even when conditions aren't perfect. It's not about being the most talented person in the room. It's about refusing to let excuses control you. Excuses are tempting because they offer comfort. They allow you to explain failure without facing the real reasons behind it. If you say, the teacher doesn't like me, that's why I didn't do well. It protects your ego. It's easier than admitting I didn't study as much as I could have. But here's the thing. When you make excuses, you give away your power. You put control of your future in someone else's hands. Effort takes that power back. Effort says, well, maybe the situation isn't fair. Maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm still going to do everything I can. And when you live that way, your results change. Every champion you admire could have made excuses. They have reasons to quit, reasons to slow down, reasons to say, it's too hard. But instead, they chose effort. They practiced when no one was watching. They studied longer than they wanted to. They sacrificed temporary comfort for long-term goals. And that's why they succeeded. Not because life gave them an easy path, but because they chose effort over excuses every time. The truth is, excuses sound convincing in the moment, but they leave you empty later. Imagine choosing not to study because you told yourself, it's just one quiz, it doesn't matter. That decision feels good at the time. You relax, you play games. You relax, you play games. You don't stress. But the next day when the grade comes back, you feel regret. Excuses always deliver short-term comfort, but long-term pain. Effort is the opposite. It's hard in the short term. You sacrifice free time. You push yourself when you're tired. But it delivers long-term success and pride. You feel stronger, smarter, and more capable because you put in the work. Effort doesn't mean being perfect every day. It doesn't mean working nonstop without rest. It means choosing to try, even when it's easier not to. It means asking yourself, what can I do today to move one step closer to my goal? Maybe it's finishing your homework instead of leaving it half done. Maybe it's practicing 10 minutes longer than you planned. Maybe it's apologizing and trying again after you mess up. Effort is about progress, not perfection. Excuses, on the other hand, often disguise themselves as logic. You'll hear people say, I don't have the right equipment. No one in my family has done this before. I'll never be as good as them, so why try? These excuses seem smart, but they're just barriers you build in your mind. And once they're built, they trap you. Effort tears down those walls. Even if you don't have everything, even if you're not the best, even if the road is tough. Effort says, I will do what I can with what I have. Right now. That mindset changes everything. Think about how good it feels when you actually put in effort. You might be exhausted after practice, but you're proud. You might be drained after studying late, but you're confident walking into class. That pride and confidence can't be bought. It's earned through effort. Excuses never give you that feeling. They leave you with regret, wishing you had tried harder. What's powerful is that effort builds character. When you push through challenges, you're not just achieving tasks. You're training yourself to be resilient, disciplined, and strong. Those qualities will carry you through every stage of life. Excuses don't build character, they weaken it. The more you let them win, the more powerless you feel. But the more you practice effort, the more unstoppable you become. There's a saying, excuses are expensive. Effort costs you energy and time, but it gives you growth, knowledge, and results. Excuses might feel free in the moment, but they cost you opportunities, potential, and dreams. Which one is worth it? Have you ever walked into a room where everyone seemed tired, bored, or distracted. The mood in that space probably made you feel heavier. Like even if you came in with some excitement, it quickly drained out of you. On the other hand, think about moments when you've been around someone who's positive, enthusiastic, and full of drive. Just being near them seems to lift you up, doesn't it? That's because energy is contagious. The attitude you bring into a situation spreads far beyond yourself. It influences your friends, your classmates, your teammates, even your family. And when you realize the power of your own energy, you understand that you have the ability to shape not just your own experience, but the experiences of everyone around you. Tuh. Energy doesn't mean you always have to be bouncing off the walls. It's not about being the loudest person in the room or pretending to be happy when you're not. Energy is about presence, focus, and intention. If you show up ready to give your best effort, people feel it. If you show up complaining, rolling your eyes, or holding back, people feel that too. The truth is, the way you carry yourself sets the tone for others. And when you consistently bring strong, positive energy, you become someone others look to for encouragement and motivation. Think about a team setting. Let's say you're at practice and the coach assigns a tough drill. If one teammate groans and drags their feet, that negativity can spread. Suddenly, everyone else starts feeling discouraged too. But if another teammate claps their hand, shouts encouragement, and gives the drill their all, that energy changes the atmosphere. And others start pushing harder, smiling through the challenge and lifting each other up. The drill didn't change, but the energy did, and that made all the difference. The same principle applies in class. If you're sitting in a group project and everyone is quiet, hesitant, or disengaged, the project feels like a chore. But if one person said, "All right, let's get this done," we can handle it, that spark can wake everyone up. Productivity goes up, stress goes down, and the whole group ends up performing better. That's the power of contagious energy. It's important to remember that your energy can spread in two directions, positively or negatively. Negative energy, complaining, laziness, constant doubt, doesn't just stay with you. It drags down people around you as well. Over time, it can create an environment where no one wants to grow, no one wants to take risks, and no one feels inspired. On the other hand, positive energy, focus, effort, enthusiasm builds momentum. It makes hard work feel lighter, inspires others to rise up, and it creates an environment where people believe progress is possible. Now, you might wonder, well, what if I don't feel positive every day? Yeah, that's normal. No one feels 100% energetic all the time. The key is not to fake joy, but to choose effort and intention regardless of mood. Even when you're tired, you can choose to give focus. Even when you're stressed, you can choose to encourage someone else. Those choices are energy too. You don't need to be overly cheerful. You just need to bring commitment and presence. That's enough to make a difference. Energy also reflects your belief in yourself. When you walk into a room with confidence, shoulders up, eyes forward, ready to try, you're not just telling yourself you're capable, you're showing others they can be capable too. Your courage to speak up can give someone else courage. Your willingness to try can encourage someone else to stop holding back. This is why leaders are often remembered for the energy they carry more than the exact words they said. Look at examples from history, sports, or even your own school. People who lead well often aren't the most talented or smartest. They're the ones who consistently bring energy that lifts everyone else higher. Their belief becomes contagious. Their work ethic spreads. Their refusal to quit gives others permission to keep going. That's the kind of influence anyone can have if they pay attention to the energy they bring. You can start practicing this in small ways. Notice how you enter a room. You walk in slouch, looking down, already disengaged, or do you enter with focus and presence, ready to add value? Notice how you speak to friends. Do you spread doubt or do you encourage? Notice how you handle challenges. Do you immediately complain or do you say, let's figure this out? These small decisions shift your energy, and over time, they shift the energy of everyone around you. Another powerful thing about energy is that it tends to come back to you. When you bring positivity into your environment, it often returns multiplied. Encourage someone, and they might encourage you later. Work hard with focus, and others match your effort, which makes the task easier for you too. Energy works like a mirror. When most people hear the word discipline, they think of restriction. They picture rules, limits, and the feeling of not being able to do what you want. It sounds heavy, like something that takes away your fun. But in reality, true discipline is the exact opposite. It is not about losing freedom. It is the very thing that creates freedom. Discipline is the structure that allows you to live the life you actually want instead of being trapped by bad habits, procrastination, or regret. Think about your mornings. If you don't have discipline, you sleep through alarms. You rush out the door and you start your day stressed. You spend the rest of the morning trying to catch up. But if you practice discipline by setting an alarm, preparing the night before, and waking up on time, you give yourself freedom. Freedom to eat breakfast without rushing. Freedom to arrive calmly. Freedom to begin your day with focus instead of chaos. The discipline felt tough in the moment when you wanted to keep sleeping, but it gave you a smoother, freer morning. Discipline is freedom because it removes the chains of procrastination. Without discipline, you keep saying, I'll do it later. The deadlines pile up, stress builds, and you feel trapped. But with discipline, you do the work step by step, and suddenly you're free from the weight of constant pressure. That project doesn't control you anymore, you control. That is what freedom really looks like. Having the power to direct your time instead of being dragged by it. This truth shows up in every area of life. Athletes who discipline themselves to train regularly are free on game day. They don't panic. They don't hesitate because they know they're prepared. Musicians who discipline themselves to practice scales and routine are free to perform with confidence because their hands and minds know what to do. Students who discipline themselves to review material daily are free during exams because they aren't chained by fear or cramming. Discipline unlocks that freedom. Now, discipline doesn't mean never having fun. In fact, it's what allows you to enjoy fun even more. Imagine finishing your homework before hanging out with friends. Because you were disciplined, you're free to laugh, relax, and be fully present without that nagging voice in the back of your mind reminding you of unfinished tasks. Without discipline, fun moments are often spoiled by guilt or stress. With discipline, fun becomes pure joy because you've earned it and cleared the space for it. Discipline is also about habits. Everyone has habits, things you do repeatedly, whether you think about them or not. The difference is whether your habits are chosen by discipline or dictated by laziness. For example, scrolling on your phone for hours each night might feel like freedom, but it often steals your sleep, your energy, and your focus. On the other hand, disciplining yourself to put your phone down and rest gives you freedom the next day to perform better and feel stronger. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like in the moment. It comes from creating habits that protect your future. And some people avoid discipline because it feels hard. Waking up early, training when you're tired, studying when you'd rather play, it's not easy. But here's the secret. Hard now becomes easy later, and easy now becomes hard later. If you choose discipline, you do the hard thing first, but later you enjoy the reward of freedom. If you avoid discipline, you do the easy thing first, but later you're trapped by stress, regret, and lost opportunities. Discipline asks for effort up front, but it pays back in freedom down the road. It also builds character. Discipline teaches patience, resilience, and self-control. These are qualities that stay with you long after you've reached your goals. Someone who learns discipline as a teenager carries that skill into every part of life. College, work, relationships, health. It becomes a superpower because while others are distracted or controlled by outside forces, disciplined people remain steady. And because they are steady, they are free. Think of discipline like a key. Every dream you have is locked behind a door. Maybe you want to play a sport at a high level, graduate with strong grades, learn a new instrument, or save money for something important. Without discipline, that door stays locked. You can hope, you can wish, but you can't open it. Discipline is the key that unlocks the door and sets you free to actually live that dream. Another way to think about it is like training a muscle. At first, discipline feels weak. You struggle to get started. You break promises to yourself. You slip back into old patterns. Yeah. But just like muscles, the more you train discipline, the stronger it gets. Every time you choose to follow through, even in a small way, you're strengthening your discipline muscle. Gratitude is often seen as something small, like saying a thank you when someone holds the door open or when you receive a gift. But real gratitude is much more powerful than just good manners. Gratitude is an attitude, a way of looking at the world. It's about noticing what you have, instead of only focusing on what you lack. It's about recognizing the value of the people, opportunities, and even the struggles that help shape you. When you live with gratitude, you begin to grow in ways you never imagined, because gratitude fuels growth. When you're grateful, you shift your focus. Instead of being caught up in what's wrong, you start to see what's right. That doesn't mean you ignore challenges. It means you approach them differently. For example, if you have a tough test, you could complain about the stress, or you could be grateful that you have the chance to learn, to challenge your brain, and to prove your effort. Gratitude changes your mindset from frustration to motivation. And when your mind is motivated, you're more likely to push forward instead of giving up. Gratitude also builds resilience. Life won't always be smooth. There will be setbacks, disappointment, and failures. But when you train yourself to look for something to be grateful for, even in tough times, you gain strength. Imagine you lose a game after training hard. It's easy to be bitter. But if you're grateful for the chance to compete, for the lessons you learned, and for the team you have around you, then the loss doesn't crush you, it teaches you. You grow because gratitude gives you the perspective to turn failure into fuel. Another way gratitude fuels growth is by keeping you humble. Gratitude reminds you that you didn't get where you are alone. Every success you've had involves someone else. Teachers, family, friends, mentors, or even teammates. When you remember to be grateful, you stop taking those people for granted. You recognize their role in your journey, and that humility keeps you open to learning more. People who lack gratitude often start believing they don't need anyone. But people who are grateful know that growth happens faster when you're connected to others. Gratitude also sharpens your awareness of progress. When you're always chasing the next goal, it's easy to forget how far you've already come. Gratitude helps you pause and say, oh, look at what I've achieved so far. Look at what I once thought was impossible, but now it's part of my everyday life. That reflection doesn't make you lazy. It makes you stronger, because when you see progress clearly, you gain confidence that you can keep moving forward. Gratitude doesn't only affect your personal growth, it affects the people around you too. Showing gratitude makes relationships stronger. When you thank your parents for their support, even in small ways, you build a deeper bond. When you thank a coach or teacher, you remind them that their effort matters. When you appreciate your friends for simply being there, you make them feel valued. And the more you strengthen these relationships, the more support and encouragement you have to help you grow. Think about how gratitude can change the atmosphere of a team or classroom. If people constantly complain, everyone feels weighed down. But if people regularly say, I'm grateful for this opportunity, or I appreciate what you did, the energy shifts. Gratitude spreads just like energy does. Gratitude also helps you enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Too often we think we'll only be happy once we reach a certain goal, once we win the championship, once we graduate, once we get recognized. But gratitude teaches you to find joy in the steps along the way. When you're grateful for each practice, each lesson, each small improvement, you don't have to wait for the big win to feel fulfilled. That mindset makes the process more enjoyable, and ironically, it often helps you reach the goal faster because you're not weighed down by impatience. One of the most powerful aspects of gratitude is that it helps you turn challenges into opportunities. If you face an obstacle, you can ask yourself, oh, what can I learn from this? What's the hidden gift here? For instance, a setback might teach you patience. A mistake might make you smarter. A disappointment might reveal new strengths. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain of challenges, but it transforms how you use them. Instead of letting difficulties stop your growth, gratitude turns them into fuel. Gratitude is also tied to optimism. When you notice and appreciate good things, no matter how small, you train your brain to look for more good. That doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means noticing the light even when things feel dark. When people hear the word a legacy, they often think about something far away in the future, like what happens after someone's life is over. or something tied only to famous figures who built monuments, won championships, or wrote books. But legacy isn't just about history books or statues. It's about the impact you make with your actions right now. Legacy is built daily through the choices you make, the way you treat others, and the effort you give in the roles you already have. To leave a legacy, every day means living in a way that leaves a positive mark, even in small ways. So the people you interact with remember the best of what you brought in their lives. Think about how often you influence people without realizing it. Whoa. A single kind word to a friend might stay with them for years. A moment where you stand up for someone being picked on might inspire them to feel braver. The time you choose to give your best effort in class or practice may motivate someone else to push harder. Those little things don't seem like legacy at first, but they are. People rarely remember every word you said, but they remember how you made them feel and whether your presence lifted them up or pulled them down. Leaving a legacy every day starts with intention. If you move through your day without thinking, you might let negativity, laziness, or frustration dictate your actions. But if you wake up and ask, what kind of mark do I want to leave today? Then you start choosing differently. You might decide, I want my teacher to see that I respect their effort, so I'll stay focused. Or I want my teammate to know they're supported, so I'll cheer them on. Those intentions add up. And when they stack day after day, people come to see you as someone who brings consistency, effort, and encouragement. That's a legacy in action. Some people think legacy requires big achievements, but often it's the small daily behaviors that speak loudest. If you always keep your word, people remember that you're reliable. If you're the one who shows up on time, people trust your discipline. If you consistently give your best, others notice your work ethic. These habits may not seem dramatic, but over time they define how people view you. A person who brings effort and integrity into everyday moments leaves a legacy of reliability and strength. Another important part of leaving a legacy every day is understanding that your influence isn't limited by age or status. You don't have to wait until you're older, richer, or important to make an impact. Right now, you already have opportunities to influence your family, your peers, and your community. A younger sibling might watch everything you do and copy your actions. A classmate might take courage from your willingness to raise your hand and share an idea. Even strangers may feel uplifted by a smile or a kind gesture. Legacy isn't later, it's now. Leaving a legacy every day also requires effort when it's difficult. It's easy to act kind when things are going well, but your legacy is often shaped most in moments of struggle. If you lose a game, do you blame others and complain, or do you show resilience and sportsmanship? If you fail a test, do you give up, or do you commit to learning and improving? Those reactions leave impressions on the people watching. When you choose character, you're writing a legacy that says, I don't fold under pressure, I rise. And that inspires others to do the same. Legacy isn't about perfection either. No one gets it right all the time. What matters is the pattern you create through your efforts. People don't remember every single mistake. They remember the overall way you carried yourself. If your pattern is one of growth, kindness, effort, and resilience, then that's a legacy that will last. Each day, you can decide to add another brick of that pattern, building something strong over time. It's also worth realizing that your legacy doesn't just affect others, it shapes you too. When you challenge yourself to leave a positive mark each day, you're holding yourself to a higher standard. That standard forces you to grow. You become more disciplined, more compassionate, more focused, because you're living with purpose. In this way, leaving a legacy every day isn't just about what people remember about you, it's about who you become in the process. One of the most meaningful legacies you can leave is how you make people feel about themselves. Did you encourage others to believe they could achieve? Did you respect them enough to listen? Did you treat people with kindness, even when it wasn't convenient? Those are the moments that linger in someone's memory. A classmate years from now might not remember your grades or your clothes, but they'll remember that you cheered them up when they felt invisible. That's legacy.